What is up, my friends? That's a big prime rib. We're not even going to talk about how expensive it was. I've been making the milk marinated prime rib for years, my friends. Literally like 25 years. It's the only way I do my prime rib. Lately, there's been some people saying it doesn't actually tenderize the meat, so we're going to do a little experiment. We're just going to trim this up just a little bit so our dry brine, not our milk brine, can penetrate this thing. So we're just going to get a little bit of this fat cut off here. Now, let's cut this bad boy in half. That's a pretty sharp knife. We're taking this half right here. You know what we're doing. We're putting that in there. Now let's make our dry brine. Kosher salt, and primo, and crunchy. These are made for prime rib, my friends. Everything you want is right here. And it's salty. Look at that. So now we're just simply going to sprinkle this on. Pat it in. We're gonna flip it on its side. That's some pretty seasoning right there. Let's flip it upside down. So you know the dry brine is supposed to tenderize as well. All right, one last coating. Now let's go set this in the fridge. All right, now it's time to do the part that everybody says doesn't actually work. We're using whole milk. That's right, the red top. And we're just gonna submerge this thing. Am I crazy? I don't know. Now it's time to add the Creole injectable butter. We're just gonna mix that right into our milk, start filling this bad boy up, and start injecting. We just keep moving it around. Oh, a little bit here, a little bit there. I'm gonna inject this thing probably 100 times. Just flip it over and continue to do the same thing. It's real easy, my friends. All right, we'll see you in about 18 hours. Thanks, GE, for our new fridges. Look at that, GE Appliances. It has been 18 hours. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna set this out and we're gonna let these bad boys sit at room temperature for probably close to 3 hours. All right, it's been 3 hours. Now let's see where we're at. 47 degrees internally. Oh, 46 degrees. Okay, and here we are 47 degrees. We're gonna re-season this, but for right now, we're just gonna get all this salty stuff off here. Look at this. We're gonna cook these bad boys side by side. They look nothing alike. Let's see how good they are. We're gonna season them up the same way. So we're gonna start out with our Duke's mayonnaise. We're gonna go in with a bunch of it because we're seasoning 2 of these things. So I've done the mayonnaise several times now and it's really good. You can totally do some salt and butter, but we're also gonna add some of this stone ground mustard, a couple big scoops, half of this little jar, one more little dollop. And then now we're gonna look up here to the heavens. We're gonna grab our Primo. We're gonna grab our OG Danos. We got about 1/4 of a bottle there. We're gonna go on and add that in. Get that beautiful rosemary flavor in there. And then we're gonna grab our Primo that's more of a coarse ground. As you can see, we got black pepper, lots of big pieces of black garlic. It's even got black cumin, Aleppo flake. This is what you want, my friends. This is gonna add an awesome texture. Look at that. Dollop, dollop. Now we're going to use our basters. Slide this around. We're going to get us a nice thick little coating. Move it right out over the top. Go here on the side. All right, now it's time to put the finishing touches on the Primo. Right over the top, just like that. Now into our oven we go at 275 degrees. You know what? I was getting ready to throw that in the oven on that. I was like, why don't I do this? Put some parchment paper and a baking rack down. Go like that and like that. All right, in we go, 275 degrees. Here you go, 3 hours later, and look at that. Come up here and get a real close look. 275 for about 2 hours and 50 minutes or so, and then broiled it at the end. Now we're gonna let this rest for a good 45 minutes or so, maybe an hour, and then we're cutting in. Let's slice into it. Milk marinated first. So we're gonna cut our first little slab. Oh, look at that. How juicy that is. Oh my goodness. All right, now comes the slab that we're gonna compare with. Look at that. That, my friends, is a juicy prime rib. Now over to our dry brine. Oh, look at that. That looks beautiful. Now let's cut our slab for the taste test. Kind of looks like the shape of Kentucky. Look at that prime rib sitting there. And now look at our milk marinated prime rib and look at that puddle of juice. It's just puddled up right there. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna cut a strip right out of the center, just like this. We got a little spinalis. I'm gonna go right here, right through the eye of the rib eye. So this is our dry aged. See the little pull test on it maybe. That's phenomenal. Wow. Yum, yum, get you some. Really tasting the steak. Now let's do the milk marinated. Look at that. Look at how much more tender that is. Oh my goodness, let's give it a bite. Wow. I want to do something for you all. We totally did this for the milk marinade because people think that maybe the milk doesn't actually marinate the steak. Look at that. Look how juicy that is when I slice that. Oh my goodness. There's a reason why I have made the milk marinated prime rib my entire life. I'm just an old Kentucky boy, and I picked up on this recipe in college. Some Kentucky boys showed it to me. But look at that. Just look at how juicy and tender that is. You can say what you want. Maybe we need to get some real research in here and figure out, does the milk actually tenderize the meat? But you know what? We got to try one more thing. This year, if you don't have the butter dust, I don't care how you make your prime rib, you're missing out. Look at this. We're going to put us a little pile of butter dust right here on the side. Get your steak. Give it a little dip. That is a game changer. Yum, yum, get you some. We'll see you next time. Let me know what you think about that. Keep sprinkling.